Good morning, grade 11. Today we're going to continue the Ecology of Protists. This is part 3. Please open your books on page 614. The objective of this video is to determine the types of symbiotic relationships that involve protists. Let's start by defining what is symbiosis. We have studied earlier that symbiosis is a relationship in which two species they live closely together. Many of these relationships are mutualistic, that means both organisms benefit. However, some are parasitic relationships in which the protist benefits at the expense of its host. And that means also that one benefits, however, the other is harmed. Earlier, you learned that photosynthetic protists called zooxanthellae are essential for the health of coral reefs. These protists, they maintain a mutualistic relationship with the animals of the reef, which could not survive without their help. These protists, they have a symbiotic relationship. That is, the protists act as a food source for the coral, and the coral provides shelter and compounds for photosynthesis for these protists. Another mutualistic relationship in protists is Trichonympha, which is a flagellated protist that lives within the digestive tract of various species of termites. That makes them possible for these insects to digest wood. Trichonympha, in the termite's gut, it manufactures an enzyme called cellulase, which breaks down the chemical bonds in cellulose. Cellulose is a sugar found in wood, making it possible for these termites to digest wood. Let's move on to discuss parasitic protists that are responsible for some of the world's most deadly diseases, including several kinds of debilitating intestinal diseases, African sleeping sickness, and the famous malaria. Let's start with intestinal diseases. Waterborne protists are found in streams, lakes, and oceans. These harmful parasites, they cause problems. For example, the Giardia, which is a flagellated protist, causes severe diarrhea and digestive system problems. Another kind is Entamoeba, which is in the upper picture. It causes dysentery, which is severe diarrhea. This amoeba lives in the intestines, whereby it absorbs food from the host and causes severe bleeding of the intestinal wall. The third one is Cryptosporidium, which is a protist resistant to chlorine compounds that are often used to sanitize water. Waterborne protist parasites are the last example that causes intestinal disease, whereby water is contaminated with human feces and animal feces that can cause serious deadly outbreaks of intestinal disease. The famous African sleeping sickness. Flagellated protist Trypanosoma, it causes the African sleeping sickness. Trypanosoma are spread from one person to another by the bite of the tsetse fly. This parasite, it destroys blood cells and other tissues in the body, including the nerve cells. Severe damage to the nervous system will cause individuals to lose consciousness and lapse into a deep sleep that is sometimes fatal. This is a picture of a tsetse fly. Malaria. It is one of the world's most serious infectious diseases. More than 1 million people die from malaria every year. Malaria is caused by Plasmodium, which is a spore-forming protist carried by the female Anopheles mosquito. This is the Plasmodium life cycle, the parasite that causes malaria. Plasmodium requires 2 hosts to complete its life cycle, an Anopheles mosquito and a human. Please look at the following cycle and start with the left side. A female Anopheles mosquito bites a human infected with malaria and then picks up the Plasmodium gametes. Then, fertilization occurs in the mosquito's digestive tract and Plasmodium spores develop. This infected mosquito, it will bite another human, transmitting these spores through its saliva to the human bloodstream. Inside the human body, the spores infect liver cells and then develop into merozoites. Merozoites are the daughter parasites that grow inside these blood cells, and then they infect them. Infected red blood cells, they burst, causing malaria symptoms in the human host, and some of these released merozoites, they start forming gametes again. Thank you for your attention. End of section 21.3.